All right, everyone. I am now talking with Annemarie Sunde of Legacy Property Management. And so, Annemarie, it's been like 2 months since we've talked. I got busy and missed the August update. So, how are you? And we got lots to talk about.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, no, I'm great. Things are busy, things are crazy, but it's all really fun. I'm good.
Good. So, we are recording this on October 8th. And so, we're going to talk about, we're going to cram 2 months in here. We're going to talk August data and September data.
Cool.
So if you can give us a rundown how August and September performed, I and a bunch of people are very interested in knowing.
Okay. Both months, we are still having record months. I'm still reporting 100% rent collection, which is,
Nice.
I feel very, very blessed. We all do. And so from that perspective, we have no rent payment plans. We have not had requests for that. I do believe that, again, it's the market that our company and the niche that we've created. However, we have brought on anywhere from 8 to 12 properties. I would say we've brought on 12 properties in the past 2 months, and we've started off October with three additional properties. So we are still adding into the portfolio, which tells me, again, I'm sticking to single family homes are still very much in demand. If you're a realtor or if you're not and you're an investor trying to buy, you will know that the inventory is still really low in Denver, and this is impacting our business tremendously. We are still leasing in 30 days, sometimes 45, depending on where the house is. Again, condos, there is an oversaturation of condos, especially in the downtown market. So
Yep.
it's taking a long time.
So are you, I know I think many months ago we were talking about, you had said you had at least back in like May timeframe, I think you seem to have like a surge of people from New York City basically coming as tenants to rent from you. Are you still seeing a lot of out-of-state people? Are you seeing more out-of-state people than normal renting, or do you know?
This is the time right now. It's all out of state. It's all out of
Really?
the people that move across town. That typically happens in the spring. And so those out of staters are competing with local people that might be in a rental that their owner said, hey, I'm going to sell. I'm taking advantage of the market. I'm going to sell it. So they had to find a place. Or they just wanted to move for whatever reason, and they move during the school season. So they are bedded down typically by the end of June. This is all typically reloads. I mean, I don't even think we have anybody coming in or looking at our properties that are not coming from out of state.
And are they coming from is it New York and California, like New York City, San Francisco, or do you know where they're
Actually,
moving from?
they are all over. I mean, there's a lot of, I would say Florida, East Coasters, Florida, New York. So still that Eastern Seaboard. We have a few coming from California, not much from, like a Texas type thing, but certainly they're coming from the coasts and they're coming into Colorado for sure.
All right. Well, and do you know, are these just people they're taking advantage of, they're working from home now and they want to live in a better area like Colorado?
Yeah,
Is that the message?
I think it's interesting because before we had this COVID scenario, we had some companies that came into Denver. One was VF Corp, made their headquarters, left California, made their headquarters right at Union Station in Denver. They're still here, but they have since, they were building their headquarters or whatever, rehabbing the building they were taking at the Union Station. They have since delayed their their employees from coming into the office until next spring. So they are all remote working. And, if we contact any HOAs, you get the recording. We're all working from home. So there's a delay in us getting back to you. Same with the water companies. I mean, it's crazy. So everybody has adapted to this remote work environment. And I assume I'm not screening these tenants now, Chris. I mean, I have 3 property managers that are doing that. So I'm not exactly sure what they are all doing, but I can tell you from my own personal rentals, I've had a couple of people with the DOJ coming into town for a 2-year stint. We still have people coming in on assignment that are getting assigned into Denver for whatever reason. They stay here for 1 to 2 years and then they're leaving again. So clearly they would not be buying, they would be renting for that time frame. So
All
it is
right.
amazing, despite COVID, how many people are coming into the state.
And so what about, I mean, obviously, so you're 100% rent collection. You said no payment plans?
No payment plans.
Wow. Okay. 100% no payment plans. So obviously the CARES Act unemployment running out did not affect your niche in your rental market, it sounded like.
It didn't, and I expected to have a little bit of pushback or communication from some tenants. This was the month I was expecting, October, and I know we were not talking about October, but you know, I think I'm almost all rent collected at this point, even the 2 that are typically later. I think I'm hitting October numbers. I didn't look. I looked for September for sure, but I was expecting October, November to be where we were going to have our hardship, and so far, no.
Well, that's
So,
good news.
yeah.
What about in terms of like, rent bumps or rent increases? Are you keeping things flat? Are you increasing a little bit right now? What's your strategy there?
So on lease renewals, were primarily happening in the spring and summer months. We held, I would say it was a 50-50. We held steady on most of them, or a lot of them. You know, most of our renewals that occurred were in condos, thank God, because I didn't want to have to lease up a condo again this year. So those we may have boosted $20, $25 if the market rate allowed us to. If we were at top market, we advised our owners to hold steady and be thankful we were rented. Houses, we did have some renewals, but I'm telling you, we have been on the market with a lot of houses, both new into the portfolio or people that have purchased. They did find a house bought. So in terms of when we go to market fresh, we still run a rental rate and we adjust accordingly slightly, because I believe that those rent rates that they're posting, like in Rentometer, those might be a little pre-COVID times. So they might not be totally accurate, but I'm always happy to try to see the feedback. The number of showings we have on houses is incredible. So I don't feel like we've been priced wrong for the most part.
All right, good. And in terms of, I know we've talked about this on past episodes with you, just your outlook on buying rentals. So it sounds like you're still bullish. And I think you just bought another rental, right? That's what you mentioned to me briefly when we record.
I just turned my primary into a rental, and it's rented November 1. Again, this is a single family house. It's a ranch. It's 5 bedrooms. We had 6 tours of it, 2 applications, and we were rented within less than a week. So November 1, this is rented, and we're moving before the end of the month into another house. So yes, I do think that if there are deals to be had. You definitely have to be ready for multiple offers for sure. We were against 8 people. So, yes, it is still a good time. I think what I see, I don't do anything really on the real estate side. I don't know what you can comment to this, my husband and being in real estate. The comments though are, for 600,000, they expect it to be this, I'm not going to have to do any work. And the reality is that most of the $600,000 houses are not brand new for sure, if you're depending on your size, but it's probably going to be an older home that's going to need a little bit of rehab. And that's what we bought into again. And so it's just interesting to me, the expectation of what you're looking for and what you get, they're not matching. So.
Yeah, I mean, we're noticing the same thing out there, and we've definitely been, letting our clients know as they're starting to buy like a house hack or another rental that you're going to, you and about 20 other people are buying some of these houses or trying to, and we're going to take a black eye or two and don't get, uh, don't get nitpicky on a couple small items. Big items, we'll negotiate. Small ones, just take it and pay in a year or two or whatever the issue is,
Yep,
Yeah.
totally.
So I
Depends
wanted
how
to
much
ask you
you
that
want.
because I think it's great because I mean, like obviously, like we're both in the trenches in slightly different sets. On we're on the brokerage side, you're on the PM side, but I mean, like you're obviously like knowledgeable, like you feel confident in the rental market, you feel confident in the long term outlook of Denver, and so you're still out there buying and renting places.
Yeah. I was going to go back and touch on a point, and it also relates to some of the legislation, but one thing that I found interesting before we were going to come on this podcast was termination dates. So it's very interesting when we get to a termination date during this COVID thing that people just decide that, oh, it didn't work out, so I'm not going to move. And that has happened in one circumstance. And they actually have moved, but they haven't turned the house over. And it's just a really weird situation. It's people have no regard for their contracts right now. And I talked to the attorney, and he just said, we don't have an explanation for it other than the fact that I equate it to the executive order and all the stuff that tenants can get away with right now. It's a 30-day notice for posting, so it gives them more time. Now, the governor's looking at charging no late fees until next year, which is craziness. That's what California is doing. So, I mean, it's just almost like they think they have the upper hand. And I had a client call me he's in New Zealand. He's coming here back to Colorado to live. His tenant that he's had, a great tenant, decided to leave December, and he asked me if I could rent it up for 4 months, and then he wants it mid-April. And I just said, what if they don't get out?
Yeah.
What are you going to do? I mean, you literally are at the mercy of the courts. And right now I would not want to be at the mercy of the courts. So I said, I recommend if you can afford it, let it sit. I would not try to rent it for 4 months.
That's interesting. But I would agree with you in the environment, like, because if they need to move back in here, I'm assuming, whatever family or whatever you do back here for a job, like, yeah, that's a risk you probably don't want to take.
No. And it's just because of experience of what we're seeing. People are just, So yeah, the legislation has created an environment for the tenants that it almost feels like they have the upper hand. And it's unfortunate for owners that, I don't know how private owners are doing it, and other property managers, but that's what I've seen.
Yeah. Awesome, Annemarie. Well, you answered my questions. I know you're busy managing properties and now probably having to move again. Any final thoughts or data points you want to share?
No, I always appreciate being on here and hearing what other people are doing. But I think if you're investing in the Denver market, again, interview for a good property manager. The legislation and the laws, make sure they know what they're doing, and you can navigate those to protect you and your asset for sure. That would be my words of encouragement. But don't be fearful of it for sure.
I agree. Annemarie, thank you so much. And we'll be talking 1 month from now rather than 2 months. So I
Awesome.
appreciate it. And we'll talk to you again soon.
All right.